Welcome, everybody, to an all new episode of GV in Interview. I am back with a special guest, someone I've spoken to. It feels like not that long ago. Not that long ago we last talked. But the great Kristian Harloff. How you doing?
Oh, good, man. Thank you so much. Very yeah, it does seem it's funny how time just kind of moves so fast now that I don't, it seems like yesterday we talked.
Yeah, it was just like that. And I remember saying, like, can't wait till we talk again, and then we're back.
We're back, man, right around the corner. It's like the end of the year. Yeah, it's nuts. It's right. We're here, we're excited. It's the it's the end of the year kind of big bash. So we're ready to get going.
Absolutely. So this week is a big week for you. This Saturday, there's a big movie trivia schmoedown. Tell us a little bit about it.
So it's essentially our WrestleMania, or Super Bowl or big game, whatever you want to say. It's the grand finale for the season that was, and it's kind of poetic because the last 2 years have been this digital thing that everyone has really been forced into, and we're ending it at a live event in person, 600 people in the audience, at the Globe Theater in downtown Los Angeles. All the championships are on the line. Special guests are going to be there. It's going to be an emotional event because John Roca, who's one of our longest competitors, it's his last match, and he's going up against his former teammate and former rival and the greatest of all time, Dangerous Dan Murrell. So we've got so much history on the line. The faction championship could be decided. Special guests aplenty. It's going to be it's going to be pretty awesome.
I can't wait, and that is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. I was super excited to see that. I cannot wait for that. So I wanted to ask you. So in building something like this, yeah, is this ever something? Because you always see this in like movies and shows and stuff when people build something this huge. Is there ever something in your mind that's like, I don't want to do this forever, but I want to build it to a point to where it could sustain itself without me? Or is this something that you're like Vince McMahon when it comes to WWE? There will never be a time where my hands aren't, you know what I'm saying, aren't on it and constructing it however needs to be constructed.
Sure. It's hard to say right now because, as it's, to me, I don't feel like it's even close to where it needs to be at all. I'm not going to feel satisfied until by, the end of next year, the show's at 1 million subscribers on the YouTube channel, 2 million subscribers, and to more mainstream when people are really, when more people are aware of it. Because I'm happier with that at the moment. That I'm very aware that there's not a lot of people who are aware of it yet. That to me is much better. People saying, I know what it is, I just don't like it. Like that's right. That's in which there's certainly, I'm not gonna say there's not people who like, oh, I used to watch a Schmoedown, but you wait until you reach out to the wrestling audience, to more of the movie audience, to the certain movies that are coming out. And, obviously you get the big Spider-Man movie coming out. We're doing a thing at Spectacular where we're going to do like Spider-Man No Way Home trivia, and we'll put that out there. Hopefully that finds new audience who will first find the trivia, but then we'll say, oh, well, what is this thing? But to answer your question, as far as like, I want to see how, when it gets to a place where the goal is to do for movie trivia what has been done, what esports has done for video games, right? What is ultimately done for darts. Be able to turn this thing into what I know it can be in full live events around the world, not just the country. And then, in 10, 15, 20 years, looking at it, maybe then my daughters take over. That's something I would love to do. But right now I have no plans of passing it off or not wanting to do it.
I love that. I love that so much. And to me, when I see Schmoedown, which by the way, I do think is the biggest thing in geekdom. I don't think there's anything even remotely close to what you've built with Schmoedown. Honestly, I think Schmoedown should be viewed the same way people view Family Feud. To where for geekdom, there is nothing else like there's nothing else really like Family Feud and what Steve Harvey's doing with it. And I could say the same for what you guys are doing with Schmoedown. So to me, you've already eclipsed, you know what I'm saying, what it means to do trivia in our space. But so is your goal like television, or do you want to keep it in its most sincere form where you have it now? where you don't have to worry about anyone trying to, you know what I'm saying, muddy the
Sure.
you guys are doing or anything.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I think there's always that fear, right? When you go once there's more money or more cooks in the kitchen, with whether it's network or wherever it might be, there's going to be changes that the people are going to want to make, right? But that's also contingent on where the show is at the moment that it goes to television. If the show was to go to television today, then people are going to say, because the show can do anywhere between 10, 20, 30,000 views an episode. And that could have executives want to meddle a little more. The show's doing $1 million an episode, $2 million an episode. Then I will have more of the card to say, well, I don't want you to do that because we know what we're doing. He's just doing $1 million, $2 million an episode right now. So there's always that leverage there. So that's that particular thing. But there's also the side of it that there could be a mixture of both. There could be the internet that it lives on, and then you essentially treat the television portion of it as let's say Dan and Roka were going to compete, but on the Friday YouTube one, we start promoting that and say, well, I'm just throwing this out there on TBS. On TBS on Saturday night, John Roka and Merle will be playing, but you have to watch it on TV. So there's a way to do it on both, to continue the league throughout and do it on both. I don't think it's you have to handcuff yourself and say it can only be on either YouTube or it can only be on TV. But who knows? It's just, well, next year is going to say a lot because it's the first year in 2 years that we'll be able to actually do shows from in the studio, actually be able to do the cut scenes again, put the actual production quality into it. We haven't done that in 2 years. So to be able to do that again and then start to promote it out and get those clips out so people see it and understand that, you know, if I could tell you how many people like the digital thing, I don't know as much. I appreciate that it kept you guys going, but I miss the studio. I get it all the time, and I'm with them. I get it. But that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and what I think kind of inspires me so much about what you've built here is the idea of, in my mind, a network couldn't come to you and say, well, obviously they can, but they wouldn't really have the legs to be like, all right, so I want you to do this, 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 and this, because you've gone as far as to get the cast of the cast of the Power Rangers movie at the time. Like, you've gotten huge names without TBS, and I'm not, this isn't any shots to TNT or anyone like that. Yeah. But you've been able to make large leaps without, you know, a network's help or whatever. So to me, I kind of feel like when you feel like you're at that moment, literally all the leverage is with you because the fans are with you. You know what I'm saying? You've gotten the connections and whatnot. So in your mind, is there a part of you that kind of feels the safety of that, to where it's like when you are ready to go to that level, no one can really tell you what to do because it's not like they can tremendously add more to you outside of just money. Money, really?
Yeah, well, obviously that's a big thing, though. You know, I know that I know a lot of times it was not always about money, you know, but it is when it comes to, I mean, even what we have to do with production wise on, like recently, I had a conversation with a diehard fan who didn't understand like how much goes into like live events, like without a sponsor and without like, you know, selling out tickets and without getting more people in the theater. Live events cost a lot of money to do because it's not like when I was running it by myself and it's like, okay, you sacrifice the sound quality sometimes because you don't have enough crew. And when you bring in a company like Skybound, the reason you bring them in is because they're going to produce it and they're going to put in the crew and they're going to put in the equipment and they're going to make it look good, but that costs money. And so when you're looking at it, you got to get people in that theater. You got to get the views up on the show itself. So money ultimately down the line, you know, if a studio comes in and says, hey, we got the, like, for example, I don't know, Shazam's coming out, right? So we got the Shazam movie coming out. We want, like, so Zach Levi is available and we want to do a whole thing with you guys. Like, there's two ways that you can go about it. The first is you bring Zach Levi on, you put him on the desk with myself or Mark, and you have some fun moments. You try to get those viral moments. similar to what we did with the It cast or somebody else, and cross your fingers. The other side of that is that the show's big enough, they want to reach out, is that you say, okay, Warner Brothers, DC here, how about this? Let's put lightning bolts all over the freaking set. Let's do a whole thing where we'll do maybe even if we cross promote and have Dwayne Johnson come in and we do a big thing, and we just turn the whole studio to look like more like the cave that he discovers himself as first as Shazam, and you build it out and the Warner Brothers pays for it. That's another way that it can add to it, right? And that's how money, as you were saying before, does help the show. But as far as television goes, I'm very humbled, and I'm very appreciative of all the kind words that you just said. But I'm not in a position where, like, creatively, I know my show. Like there's no doubt about that. I know it works. I know there's also a lot of, I think that executives a lot of times get a bad rap of just being the suits, right? And a lot of time it's true. But I've worked in the studio system. I've worked in production companies. There are a lot of creative people inside of there, and that's why they got into it. And there are people that I believe that would be very helpful to the overall success and things that maybe I'm not thinking of that they would. So there's more to it that can help besides just money. It's just, it's not as easy of going, but you just sign with the whatever company or studio wants to do it. It's got to be the right person that gets it.
Right. You got to understand it. You got to understand it and have some kind of level of respect for it.
Yeah.
So you're not putting it in a position to fail, you know?
Right.
So this card for this Saturday is huge.
Yeah.
So without looking too forward, right? Too far ahead, with this card being as big as it is, and I know this is probably already spinning in your mind, how do you top a card like this?
Oh man. Well, so I mean that's the question every year, right? Because Spectacular always has the best of the best at every, whether it is a WrestleMania, whether it's got the best of the best. How do you top it every year? And that's the matter of play and the performance that happens throughout the year. And as much as I have been vocal about how I don't like the digital age, there's been so many great performances and so many great players that just have gone above and beyond, and so many stars that have been built that's why the card's as big it is, big as it is. I put up a poll recently of seeing what the most anticipated matches were, and I thought that it would be Roka and Merle, right? Because of the legacy and what it wasn't. It was the third most anticipated. And I mean, a lot of votes on they got a lot of votes as well, but it just, for the amount of votes that Marisol McKee and Griffin Newman got, because they both just have built themselves up so much this season. So as far as how you top it, there could be new rookies next year. There's going to be people who are coming back that maybe you didn't expect were coming back. There's going to be some new teams formed. There's going to be the studio. That's ultimately how you top it, is that you go from the studio, from digital into the studio again, and you start to put that higher production into it. That's how you top it, because of what you said earlier, where it's like it's kind of the Jeopardy or Family Feud for our space. It's got to look like that though, right? Because right now, to no fault of our own, it looks like two people in their underwear playing in front of their cameras until they're playing in the live event. Then it's like, okay, that's the production. But when you turn on YouTube and you look at the studio and you go, why is this on YouTube and not on television? That's the goal for next season. That's how you top it.
I love that answer. You're giving me chills. I can't wait. So I don't want to keep you too long. So I wanted to ask you one question about Marvel, one question about Star Wars. You know, sure. I love talking Star Wars with you. Have you seen the newest episode of Hawkeye yet?
So today was really busy. I started watching the third episode this morning. And then the Matrix TV spot dropped, and I reacted to that. And then there was we're actually doing the rewatch of the Matrix right now with myself, Coy, and Kate Mulligan. So I had to put it on hold. I'm going to finish it tonight, but I liked what I saw so far.
So let me ask you this, because now that you told me that, don't even worry, we're not going that far. Where did you stop?
What part of the episode? So is it Maya is the woman that they open with?
Yes, she's her whole training and growing up.
So are we doing spoilers here?
Yes, absolutely, because this won't come out until tomorrow.
Okay, so I got right up to the part where she saw Ronan kill her dad. Okay,
so you saw her at the dojo.
I saw her in the dojo
training.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kristian, please feed into this with me. We know who that was, right? We know who that was at that dojo, right?
Tell me, because again, remember, I got to go back and watch.
Okay.
The one when they don't show her, when they don't show him and he pats him on the back. No, I'm not sure. I was wondering who that was. Who do you think it is?
I think that's 100% Kingpin.
I think you're probably right. Or what I was thinking maybe it was dude from Black Widow.
Oh, so you think she could have been a product of the Red Room?
Maybe, because there's rumors, that Florence Pugh's coming around too. So, but there's also rumors that Kingpin's coming around. So I wouldn't be shocked on that. So either one, I think it could be either. It could be either.
Only reason I went with Kingpin, and again, I'm keeping it in the parameters of what you've seen. So nothing outside of that.
Yeah.
Was you could hear how heavy the footsteps were when he was approaching her.
Sure.
And then when he kind of like puts his hand on her, he kind of gives a laugh, and I swear, I think it's partially because I wanted to be Kingpin, but the laugh sounded like
what
I'm saying?
Yeah, it could be. I have to, and I'm hoping that it is, because I can't do it anymore. But when I was watching Daredevil for the first like 2 seasons, I could do a dead-on impression of him, but I can't do it anymore. I can't even try. But like, that's why I want to I wonder if he's going to do the same voice that he did in the Netflix series.
I hope so. And I know a lot of people are feeding into it being Kingpin mainly because this show wraps up right around Christmas or a little after Christmas. So a lot of people are also theorizing Matt Murdock could be in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if those two things hit simultaneously, then it leads to Echo's series that we're going to get where it has Daredevil and Kingpin.
Agreed.
So it's like, it has to, like, it can't pull another WandaVision where they didn't have Mephisto. Like, you can't pull another one of those.
No, I think they're going to give you something for sure.
For sure. They have to. All right. So on to Star Wars. So we know Kenobi's coming up. We got some casting news for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for, but until they give me that certain blue guy, Thrawn. That's all I'm waiting for.
I think that's already been spoiled, though.
Really?
Yeah, the Rosario Dawson. I thought it was rumored that Mads Mikkelsen is gonna. He voiced him in Rebels. That he's gonna do it in this.
That's perfect.
Perfect.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
To me, that's perfect.
Not Mads Mikkelsen? Sorry, Lars.
His brother. Yeah. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, with the rumors of Patty Jenkins' movie kind of being pushed to the side, and the rumors of it's going to be the Old Republic that's replacing it. First of all, I do want to say I hope that this Patty Jenkins movie does happen. Because I think
don't count on
it. I only say that though, Kristian, because to me in Star Wars, I think a lot of I don't want to say true Star Wars fans because that sounds gatekeepish, but non-diehard Star Wars fans really only know it for lightsabers, right? It's why I appreciated them taking a leap and doing Rogue One.
Sure.
That gave people that aren't that familiar with Star Wars another look into the world. So to me, her doing that movie is only expanding the lore of Star Wars to people that just aren't familiar with it. But my question to you is, do you really think Old Republic is coming, or do you think that would be one of those myths that we just continuously talk about?
I think that they'll get an Old Republic something. Now, whether or not that's a trilogy or a series eventually, or Darth Bane, I had heard rumors that there was a Darth Bane thing in development, but then it just kind of fizzled out. I heard there was other things that Benioff and Weiss were going to do things about the formation of the Sith and the Jedi and how that started. And so they're messing around with that era for sure. I just think that if I was a betting man, which I am, I would put money down on High Republic over the Old Republic, even though I would prefer Old Republic, because they're really leaning into High Republic with the books. And I mean, they're really leaning into it and marketing it to everyone to make sure that it's not too far removed. I think it's 300 years or something before Phantom Menace. So by doing that, I think that it allows them to set it up. But I think that you do an Old Republic movie, and if you do a trilogy of movies, that could also if it's successful enough, it can lead into more series also. So I'm not a big advocate of Star Wars movies anymore. I'm more so of I would much rather watch them on television. I think it gives you more time to evolve it. However, I do think that if you put them out, the particular movies, the Old Republic, that you can tie it into a series. But I will say that I agree with you that I think that one of the reasons that that Rogue Squadron movie would have been good, I would actually prefer that as a movie because it's a one-off. You don't need to announce it as a trilogy. You don't. There's no expectations on it. It's just the reason why I don't think that's going to particularly happen is because I think it was a very personal story for Patty Jenkins, and it's the same way I don't think that the Boba Fett movie was supposed to happen with Josh Trank. That was going to happen, and then that got put to the shelf and ultimately turned into a series. And then the other one was like we just mentioned, the Benioff and Weiss thing that has now been pushed to the side. So who knows? It's just the TV right now. I have enough Star Wars that you're going to be getting it from this year, next year, year after on TV that I'm not as bothered by as other people are that we're not getting a film for a while.
That's fair. I've read some of those High Republic books, and I'm not that impressed. For me to want them to develop movies and then force a Yoda series or movie on me, like I'm not really interested in any of that. Go Old Republic, give us all the Sith goodness that came out of that, and I promise you, the movie theaters will be filled.
Give me 6 episodes of a Darth Plagueis series with Tom Hiddleston or somebody like that as Palpatine. Maybe not Hiddleston because of his Loki tie-in, but someone like that can play Palpatine. They don't adapt their books, which is so silly. Take the James Luceno novel. You have it. It's right there. It's a great story. Adapt it into 6 episodes. Make a mini series out of it. Call it a day.
Yep. And that could have been your lead-in into Acolyte.
That's it.
That series could have led you right into it. That way, when you do Acolyte, no one's clamoring about, well, where's Plagueis? Where's Sidious? They're around. They can say, look, I just gave you a series. This is about blah, blah, blah. So, like, relax. You just got that.
I think Acolyte comes out. I think Acolyte does take place in that High Republic era.
It does. Yeah. It does. And that's why I said, if I don't hear a Plagueis casting.
But Plagueis wouldn't necessarily be around at that point, because remember in the book the species is Mune, but that was never established in canon. So if he was indeed a human, he wouldn't necessarily be around at that point, because if it's 300 years before Phantom Menace, he wouldn't necessarily be around, depending on the species too. So but there should be, whether it's the lead up to eventually Plagueis, because the way Darth Bane set it up, and now we're just kind of going into a rabbit hole of Sith lore, but like Darth Bane ultimately destroyed all of the Sith and created the rule of 2,
right? And
stayed in the shadows for 1,000 years, whatever it was, until they were ready to attack. Hence Darth Maul saying to Plagueis, "Alas, we can reveal ourselves." Alas, Right. So the lead up to that, at least they've just got to establish who the hierarchy of the Sith are during the Acolyte, and I'll be okay with that. I don't need a Plagueis.
That's fair. That's fair. I can live with that. Yeah. All right. My last question before I let you out of here. We got the Book of Boba coming up this month, into this month. Now, this question's a doozy, but you are literally the only person outside of Jon Favreau that I ever felt comfortable asking this to, because I feel like you'd understand me. Because we don't know who the quote unquote big bad will really be of this season of Book of Boba, just tell me, am I out of my mind for wanting it to be Cad Bane?
No, not at all. I think that would be great, considering especially the beef that they've had in the past. The fact that the nick on the helmet comes from Bane. There was never really established. We know now that Bane survived it.
Yep.
So we're gonna, because if you watch Bad Batch, and we don't know, he's probably gonna show up again in Bad Batch season 2. Right. But no, it would be great to see him in live action. They have that beef, so it would be fantastic if he showed up. I don't think you're out of your mind at all, and I'm sure that it's been suggested to Filoni 1,000 times over, and whether or not Favreau is connected enough into the Clone Wars animation that I wouldn't be surprised. So no, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't there, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he was.
It writes itself. There's a power vacuum now.
Sure.
In once that gets to Cad Bane and he finds out there's a vacuum, I 100% believe he'll want to fill that vacuum.
Sure.
Only to find out that little Boba
take that kid out. Take him out.
And he's like, oh, no. You got to go. You have to go.
It's like Feech Lamana coming back for The Sopranos.
I love it. That's why I'm like, I knew you would understand me.
Yeah, sure.
Because most people are like, no, I don't really know if we need Cad Bane. I'm like, well, you don't really need anything, but Cad Bane versus Boba Fett, that race itself.
Yeah, they got beef. They got beef.
Yeah. And I think Robert Rodriguez, who I believe is the showrunner for the Book of Boba Fett.
Favreau is.
Favreau is?
I thought Favreau's the showrunner. I think I know maybe they're both produced. Maybe he's producing it also, but Rodriguez is involved and he's directing.
Oh, okay. Then maybe that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Favreau's. I'm pretty sure Favreau's the overall showrunner for this one.
Okay, then if he's a showrunner, then that leads to my point even more because he seems to be huge into Westerns, right? So it's like Cad Bane is the epitome of Western.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Writes itself.
Yeah. Well, so, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So I can't wait to see Book of Boba and how that all shapes out. But Kristian, I am extremely happy for this Saturday. The spectacular, to see it all go down, to see how everything plays out. I'll be tuned in. Awesome, man.
Awesome. So I want to thank you again for joining me. And like I said last time, I cannot wait to talk to you again.
Well, we'll do it again for sure. And for people out there who are listening, again, the schmoedownlive.com, but we also have my separate YouTube channel now, which is the Kristian Harloff channel, which talk about the Star Wars and everything. We have Hawkeye reviews. It's just, you just go to Kristian Harloff YouTube channel and it'll pop up on YouTube. But yeah, man, it's a pleasure talking to you as always.
Absolutely. Till next time. Thank you.
Thank you, man.